The provincial election is being held tomorrow, and we're taking a closer look at some of the issues. For more on what people living with disability and poverty in Ontario would like to see coming out of the campaign, we're joined live now by Kyle Vose. He's the co-chair for the Ontario Disability Support Program Action Coalition. Kyle, great to have you with us this afternoon to talk about it. I was quite shocked to learn that the ODSB or SP program pays up to $1,169 per month, and that's for single adults without dependents. Looking at that figure, how do people even survive on that amount, given rent in the province across Toronto is way more than that in some places?
Well, as we hear from the government, it's that they're supposed to depend on charity. They're supposed to depend on food banks. They're supposed to depend on soup kitchens, family, to give them things that they don't have, to help them meet their ends, have their ends meet. In reality, it's sometimes impossible for some people, and they live in poverty and they do without, and then they end up getting sicker and they end up in the hospital, and it costs the system more because they're at the hospital more often and requiring more services, and it just becomes an endless cycle of poverty.
That's very disturbing to hear. Kyle, when was the last increase to the ODSP rate or payments?
So the last increase we really got was from the previous Liberal government. When the election was being called, they promised a 3% increase for when they got reelected. When the Conservatives won, though, they canceled that increase, and we fought and advocated for that increase. And so the Conservatives end up giving back 1.5. So we don't look at it as an increase. We look at it as a cut from 3% to 1.5%. But that was the last time was 4 years ago when any increase to ODSP.
Kyle, I want to give our viewers some perspective of what we're dealing with here, because the average income in the province of Ontario is about $50,000 a year, while ODSP recipients, they get about $14,028 a year if you're looking at that $1,169. So we have the election tomorrow. All the leaders, the political party leaders, are promising to increase the rate. PC leader Doug Ford is saying he'll raise it 5% annually if re-elected. Del Duca and the Liberals say they'll raise it by 10% by July 1st, then increase it to another 10% a year later before leveling off at 2% annually starting from 2024. NDP leader Andrea Horwath says raise it by 20%, double them in the second year, and then draft legislation to make it so that it kind of adapts or fits in with the inflation index. And then Green Party leader Mike Schreiner is saying he will double it if elected. Who do you think is on point here in terms of what is needed?
Well, to be honest, we know that doubling it is not even enough but the fact of creating a new program, making the program work better and run better, cutting out some of these stupid rules that are invented in this program in reality, this program, ODSP, when it was created, was to deny by design. So everybody that applies for it basically gets told no. And the idea is that you're going to get tired of asking, so you stop asking, and then you don't get the money anymore, and then they can cut the funds. So having a new program that actually allows a person to live with dignity and above the poverty line would be a great, one of the greatest governments that we could get into power for people with disabilities.
Well, hopefully, whoever wins this next provincial election, they will take what you just said into account. Kyle, I also know that the amount of money you get also depends on, for a person, depends on what their partner is making. And that's not good either, is it?
No, in reality, what ends up happening is that their income is treated the same as a person with a disability's income. So the first 200 gets allowed, and then after that, 50% gets clawed back. And I don't know anybody that's maybe a senior that their husband's or spouse is still working, seeing that their pension gets clawed back 50% because of the other spouse. There's no other benefits or programs out there that works this way. And the worst is even if the two people are disabled. So we talk about, it's $1,169 for one person, but imagine if you have two people, you would think that they would get $2,300 for putting the two together, but it's not. It's like $1,600.
Huh. Wow, that's really interesting. Okay, Kyle Vose, we lost him, but thank you, Kyle, for joining us on the show.